Okay. Let's see. So I've had a couple people now ask me how to set up Datapath Vision RGB for capturing old consoles. So I decided, instead of answering them individually, I will make a guide. Maybe I'll wait for people to show up. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to show up. Probably nobody. But, yeah. So, yeah. I'm going to start from a clean slate here. See, the first thing we want to look at is let me make sure it's not going to show my stream key. Yeah, okay, never mind. I don't need to go to that one. Okay, so the first thing you want to decide is your video resolution. If you're playing retro consoles, the thing to think about is that they're not very high resolution. The specifically the ones I know about are the NES and the Super Nintendo. So those are the ones I'm going to talk about. The resolution of those consoles is 256 by 224 pixels. The NES actually outputs 256 by 240, but the top 8 and bottom 8 pixels are usually garbage. So I prefer to do 1280 by 720. This 720, you'll notice, is triple 240. So that gives you a nice scaling factor, which is an integer, which is something you want to be mindful of. 1080 is 4.5 times 240, which is not as good, but either way it's fine. Like either way, you do what you want. You want to pick something that's a normal 16:9 aspect ratio, because that's what people's displays are these days, and that's what's going to look best. So either go with 1280 by 720 or 1920 by 1080, and we'll start with 1280 by 720. If you're playing retro consoles, they generally run at 60 FPS, so you want to make sure you set that to 60. Otherwise, a lot of games will have things where entities on the screen blink every frame, and you won't be able to see that because they're blinking every frame. If you do it at 30 FPS, you won't be able to see it. They'll either look solid on your stream or they will not be there at all, and it's just not a good experience for the viewer. So make sure you set the FPS to 60. This one, it doesn't really matter because you're not scaling, so it doesn't matter what you pick here. They're all the same. So that's it for the video settings. What's up, CF207? Yeah, actually someone asked me how to do this, so we're doing it. How are you? Audio, I don't know, man. None of this matters. Who cares? Output. Yeah, you got to pick a bit rate. Twitch, unfortunately, doesn't allow you to do variable bit rate. You have to do a constant bit rate. So you have to pick a rate here. And yeah, you can 2500 is not a bad way to start. It really depends on what kind of games you play. Games that have like a lot of change, you'll need a higher bit rate. In games that don't have much changing on the screen at once, you'll need less. So like if you're playing a lot of platformers, especially fast-paced platformers, or things with like lots of flashing, those are going to take more bit rate than if you're playing, say, like an RPG that nothing changes much on the screen all at once. So we'll leave that at 2500 for now. You could pick a encoder preset. This is basically, you want to pick very fast and just leave it at that. Maybe the thing with this is like the slower ones you pick if you have a beefier CPU, and you'll get better encoding quality at that bit rate. But it's probably easier to just adjust the bit rate to see like how it works out. And if you get get a lot of artifacts, then up your bit rate. Don't bother with the encoder preset unless you know a lot about video encoding. Yeah, you want to set your stream to Twitch, obviously. That's that. Nice, yeah, nice poem. I love it. I guess, yeah, the stream thing, you just put your key in. You probably know how to do that already. I thought there was more stuff in here that I would have to go over. Maybe it's somewhere else. I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing in there. Oh, I have to read it. Okay. There once was a dude BGT. He taught how to set up Datapath RGB. Open your eyes, follow his guide, and have crispy pickles on Twitch TV. I like it. It's a good one. It's a good poem. So anyway, here we got a blank slate. Nothing really going on. So the first thing you're going to want to do is not an audio input capture. You're going to want to do a video capture device. And we'll call it Datapath. And look here, we got the Datapath. It says no signal. So yeah, what you're going to want to do is load yourself up this 240p test ROM. As you can see, like, the config is not good right now. We got all this fucking garbage on the bottom and garbage up here on the top that's flickering, and like, what is this big black area? So that's all nonsense. No, that's not the one we want. You want to go on this to, I can never remember what one it is. When it's Battletoads, what's up, Mew Mew? Full screen stripes. And so here you can see on my TV, it's actually really nice stripes. But here on the capture, we have this distortion. It's called moire or moire. I don't know. It's some French guy, I guess. I'm not sure what it means. But anyway, if you press A, you can change to vertical stripes. And you see these ones actually look pretty good right now. There's not that same kind of distortion. Pinot Noir. And if you press A again, you get a grid. And so here we can see, with this grid, we can actually see how our capture is looking. It's kind of blurry in the vertical dimension, or it's rather shitty in the vertical dimension, and it's a little bit blurry in the horizontal. But that's fine. So the first thing we want to do is remember what the fuck we're trying to teach people here. Yeah. So we want to set this to 256 by 240. That actually doesn't do anything. Oh no, it does. I hit apply and some stuff happens. I don't know what those black bars are. That's crazy. And see, we got all these sliders that like do different crap. As you can see, like as you move them around, there's like kind of effects. You know, that one's really weird. Don't do that one. So we got to figure out the settings that are best for this. Actually, I think we want to leave this at 320 by 250 and hit apply. So do I really have to hit apply every time I want to do this? So I think the first thing to do is try and set this horizontal size to 256. And then we're going to set the horizontal position, and it does nothing. Maybe we need this to be also 320. So it's been a while since I've done this, so I don't remember it exactly. Well, this is not going well. One moment. Let's look at what settings I actually use. Oh, good, it overwrote my settings. So fine. Yeah, this is clearly garbage. So what we want to do is increase this until we don't, you see these like vertical bands. And actually, let's see. We want this to be 320 by 250. Okay. Let's go back into there and into there, into there. Okay, now it's working. So we want this to be 320, I think. And you want to set, and now the horizontal position doesn't work anymore. Why don't you work? This is not very much of a guide, is it? $240. All right, let's just reset that. So this is what it starts out at. And now things are working. So we'll mess with the horizontal position until it gets perfectly on the left, like this. Horizontal size we'll leave at 341. The phase, so this one, you can see like as I slide it, distortion comes in. It looks like it's actually pretty good right now. Vertical position, you again want to put it so like you get as near to the top as you can. black level, I don't know, like this one does weird stuff for me. I get this band on the left, and I can actually see it on my TV too. So I don't know, don't mess with that one. Leave it at 0 or 1. And then we got brightness. You know, you can mess with that to get the level of brightness you want. The contrast, I would just leave them be though. So that's pretty okay. We're getting like the clear picture, and it's where we want. Those pickles aren't crispy yet, but we'll deal with that in a little bit. What is happening? Okay, here's what I wanted to show. So you see, as we do this, like we have right now, we have 4 bands, well 5 if you count this one on the far right, of distortion in the image. We want to get rid of all those. And you see, if we increase the size, we get more. So that's not the right way to go. We want to decrease the size then. So now we have just 2 bands, 1 band, no bands. Oh, now 1 band again and 2. So like this no bands is good. We're in good shape here. If your phase is incorrect, you like see the distortion everywhere, and you want to just adjust the phase so that you have no distortion, basically. So 341, and don't worry about like this garbage at the bottom that's blinking. That's not a big deal. And don't worry about the Pinot Noir here, because we're going to fix that in a little bit. And it might not even be real. You just want to get it so you don't have any of these bands of distortion. So again, if we go here, nope, not that one. Change the horizontal size. You'll see that like there's this. So here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horizontal or vertical bands of distortion. And so you want to just use left and right on your keyboard. And like here's 1. So, you know, 341 seems to be perfect. That's kind of a strange number though, so I don't trust it. We're going to go with 340 and see if we can adjust with the phase. See how the phase controls like the position of the vertical of the banding. But you'll notice that like even if we adjust the phase, there's still some distortion over on the right and a little on the left. So I think actually 341 is the best number. Oh man, so there's the science. 341 dots per line. There's the science for why it's 341. So it's definitely 341. Don't listen to me about feeling it out. Just fucking put it. Listen to CF207. So once you get that, click apply. And then click OK. And then we're done with this step. Make sure the resolution here is 320 by 250, and the match output is FPS is set. You can also do 60. It doesn't really matter. The rest of these things, I don't really know what they do, so probably just leave them alone. Now we have our capture, and as you can see, it looks like shit. So the first thing you're going to want to do is actually go into properties. No, we were just there. Go into filters, and you're going to want to add. And the Orange Cassidy shirt. Yeah. You're going to want to add a not audio video filter. Wait. No. An effects filter. You're going to want to add a crop and pad. And what you want to do is kind of make this window as big as you can so you can see it well. Hi, Hans. And you're going to want to crop things until And actually what you want to do is press B and get out of this test and go to the overscan test. And in the overscan test, what you do is you hold A, and then if you press the D-pad, you can pick which side to adjust. And what I like to do is go to the top, hold A, and press down 8 times to get 8 pixels of overscan, and then do the same on the bottom, but pressing up this time, hold A to adjust. And actually I like to do 9. I'm sorry, 9. So this should mean, hey, oh wow.
This is what was in that huge box.
Nice, that's a huge knife. You gotta call up Crocodile Dundee and let him know you got a knife. So we want to trim 8 pixels off the top and 8 pixels off the bottom and leave the left and right perfect. It's dark in here. Hold on. So we're going to do one more on each side than that. And now we can kind of see when we get it right. So like here there's no pixels of white and here there's 1. So 13 is the right setting for the top. The left, we want 0. The right, oh, we need a whole bunch. Make sure we got 1 pixel of white on each. It's kind of hard to see on the bottom, but that's fine. Like, you can come back to this later if you need to adjust it more. So that's all we need from the overscan. Then we want to do a scaling and aspect ratio. Yeah, if you have any questions, Green Mario, feel free to just shoot them in chat and I'll try to read. So now the scaling aspect ratio thing, there's a little bit of a history lesson, or I guess it's not history, a little bit of chat about how old TVs work. On modern displays, pixels are squares, but on CRTs, pixels are not necessarily squares. It depends on the timing of how long the beam is traced along the screen. And in the NES and Super Nintendo, the pixels are slightly wider than they are tall. They're 8 sevenths as wide as they are tall. Some people like to just have square pixels when they're doing NES games, and some people like to do the 8:7 ratio. I fall into the later group. So we're gonna do some fanciness with scaling and aspect ratio filters. Actually, we're gonna remove that one to get that effect. So we're gonna close out the filter thing for now, and if we go to the transform for the data path, I won't use the shortcut keys because it's hard to see then. So we go to transform, edit transform. You'll see that it's actually 256 by 223. So we've cropped 1 more pixel than we needed to at some point. It should be 256 by 224. So let's go back into the filters and go back to the overscan. Yeah, so as you can see, we have 1 pixel more missing from the bottom. So let's reduce the bottom to 13. Close it. Go to transform. Oops. Edit transform. 256 by 224. That's perfect because that's the resolution we want to see of the console. Now, you probably don't want to play with the NES just tiny in the corner. You probably want it to be the size of your whole screen. So what I recommend for that is you can do it you can click and drag it in here or whatever, like anything else, but I don't like doing things that way. I like precise operations because we're trying to get crispy pickles here. So I go to the scaling aspect ratio and we're going to call this one embiggen. you want to do point scale filtering, and you want to do, here's the secret. What? We're going to get our calculator out. And remember earlier, are we doing 720 or 1080? I don't remember. $720. Okay. So we want to do, if we're doing 720 pixels, we want to divide that by 240, and that's our scaling factor is 3. So we're going to multiply 224 by 3. Oh, wait, no, I lied. We're not doing that yet. Embiggen is to widen the pixels. So we know that the NES has 256 pixels wide, and we want them to be 8 times embiggened. So we're going to put a resolution of 2048. And then the NES also has 224 that we're looking at pixels tall, but they're only 7x tall. So we're going to do 2048 by 1568. And as you can see, like, this is way too huge. Doesn't fit at all because, you know, that's way bigger than the 1280 by 720. But that's fine. We're just going to leave it. And then we're going to add another scaling aspect ratio. We'll call it stream size. For this one, I recommend Lanczos, Lambos, however you want to say it. And this one you're going to do, let's see. Hans, knock it off. So, Lando Calrissian filter. For this one, you want to figure out what are the right numbers for your stream. I know that's not like the most useful thing, but so now we know that we have 720 lines in our stream because we're 1280 by 720. We're going to divide that by 240 and get a nice scaling factor of 3. You want this to be an integer or almost an integer. If you do 1080, you'll get 4.5. 4.5 is more almost an integer than like 4.1. That's how I'm defining almost an integer here. It should be an integer or half an integer, just so that things scale kind of nicely. If you don't, like, if you pick a different number, it doesn't really matter, but you'll get the crispiest pickles this way. So for ours, we're doing 720 over 240, and that's 3. So terrific. So we want to multiply. No, I did this all wrong. What was I thinking? Let's see. Losing my train of thought here. So right now we have 2048. Oh, okay. No. I know what I'm doing. Our scaling factor is 3. 720 over 240 is 3. And we want to multiply that by 224 because that's how many pixels we actually are showing. So we have 672 pixels to work with. Like 672 lines. And right now we have 224 by 7. So we have 1568. And that's too many. So we're going to divide that by 624. No, that's 224 times 7/3. I don't know what I'm doing. 672. You're right. $256. 240 times 7 divided by 672. 2.5. Okay, that's the number I wanted. So that's our ratio that we're going to reduce by. And when we did embiggen, these were our numbers. So we want to divide these numbers by 2.5 for the Lanxos one. So 2048 divided by 2.5 is 819.2. It doesn't sound right. We call it 819. 1568. 1568 over 2.5 is 627. Yeah, that's not right. What did I do wrong here? Ah, you're right. Okay, thank you, CF. 224 times 7/3 is what I want. God damn it. 224 times 7/3. That's the number I want. 523? That doesn't sound right either. So this does not look right. For some reason, I can't remember how to come up with the numbers, but they are 878, I want to say, by 672. And you see now that things look pretty crisp. Looks like actually vertically it's a little wonky here, but the way to really test is to back out of here and go back to full screen stripes and press A twice. And you see in the preview it's all wonky, but if we look in the actual like capture, oh, that's another thing actually. Preview scaling, do canvas. If you don't do canvas, then things will look crappy because it'll scale, you know, using whatever. And if you like kind of lean back from your monitor, you can see the Pinot Noir here. So preview scaling, make sure you set it to canvas. And now if we look, these pickles are crispy AF. So you just do 878 by 672. It's 2 1/3 almost an integer. It's less almost an integer than 2 1/2. So where the hell did this number come from? 878. Okay, I know what it is. Okay. 720 is our vertical resolution. We're dividing by 240 to get our scaling factor of 3. We multiply that by the width of the NEX, which is 256, which is 768, and we multiply that by 8/7, which is the pickle ratio, 877.7. So we round that up to 878, and that's our fucking width. The other number is 224, our visible lines, times 3, our scaling factor, 672. I don't know why I was making that so fucking difficult before. 2 1/3. Where's 2 1/3 even? It should just be 3. Oh, you mean the 7/3 ratio? Yeah, no, that was stupid and I was doing it wrong. That is no good. Yeah. Never mind that. No, that math was all wrong. We're going to cut that part out in the editing. So yeah, go to filters. So here's our filters. First we crop, do that one with the overscan thing. Embiggen to 2048 by 1568. Stream size, put it to 878 by 672. If you're going to do exactly, Larry. If you're going to do 1080 streaming, we'll have to fix this. So let's actually rename this one stream size for 720p. And actually, we'll go one further and rename this 8:7 pixel aspect ratio. Actually, this one has nothing to do with that. Yeah, it does. It's fine. Leave it. You can try other. Let's see. All right, and here we're gonna launch the magnifier. And with the magnifier, you can see like that there's like a little bit of blurring horizontally, and that's because of the 8:7 aspect ratio thing. What is even happening here? I need more magnification. Here, we'll put the magnifier over here. And now it's just going to show you what stuff I'm up to, which is excellent. All right, so yeah, here you can really see like there's a little bit of blurring horizontally between the pixels. But the reason to do this 8:7 pixel aspect ratio thing is so that circles look circular. Some games, the designers like didn't think about it and drew their circles in the pixels. Some games, the designers did think about it and they drew their circles so that they would look like circles on your TV. One of the games that I give a shit about is The Legend of Zelda. And that one, the Triforces are equilateral triangles only with the 8:7 pixel aspect ratio. So anyone who thinks otherwise is fucking wrong. If you want to do 1080p, we can do the calculation here. It's a long debate, Green Mario, that people harp on endlessly. I think the little bit of smearing horizontally is just better to have the right ratio. It'll look the most like what old TVs looked like, is the argument, I guess. If you want to do 1080 streaming, you do 1080 divided by the real resolution, which is 240. 4.5 is your scaling factor. So you multiply that by 256 times 8/7. And that's your horizontal ratio. It's not very close to a whole number, with the 0.57, but that's fine. So you do we'll just do another scaling aspect ratio. 1080 8:7 power. So 1317, we'll say. Again, do Lanxos Calrissian. What was it? 1317 by and then again 224 times 4.5 is your ratio. 1008. Yeah. So that, if you want 1080p, that's what you'd do. But we're going to do 720p. We'll turn that one off. If for whatever reason you don't want to do the pixel aspect ratio thing, you don't want to turn that off. So I guess, yeah, a quick description of why we do this first one that makes it way too huge is if we just do Lanxos up, you can see that everything is super blurry. That's not what I wanted. Come on. Like, now everything's blurry all over the fucking place. These pickles are soggy as fuck. Nobody wants to look at this. So let's get that out of here. You do the embiggen. The secret here is that you're using point filtering, which just makes squares bigger. It doesn't try to smooth things out for you. But then here, when we're smearing across the actual pixels, we want to use Lanxos. If we do point here, you can see it's a lot crisper. But let's get the magnifier out again. Like, you'll have some pixels wider than others. is the problem that you get. It's bulbous. And in particular, if we were to put on a game, or here, we can even like back out. So like if we look at this guy's eyes, like what is happening? Actually, it looks fine on him. He isn't too derpy, but like he's a big sprite. Okay, you can see it here in the text. Like some letters look bolder. Oh yeah, like look at that. A. Look at this. G is thick. Like some letters just don't look right. So you don't want to do point on the stream size one. You want to do Lanxos Calrissian, and that kind of smooths out that skewing. And the reason that you can't have the perfectly crisp thing with the 8:7 pixel ratio is that modern displays don't have 8:7 pixels. They have 1:1 pixels. But yeah. It's a good poem. So that's it. That's how you set up your Datapath. There's a few other things we could get into. So you notice that we have some black area here, and that's because of the pixels that we cut out. What I do personally is just move this to 24, 0 to 0.24. And I use those 24 pixels on the top and bottom for, I don't know, putting announcements or some shit. You can do that. That's where you put your Burt Reynolds. No, he goes in the corner over the game so that when people restream you, they still see him. The reason this is 24 is we cropped off 8 pixels and our scaling factor is 3. If you were doing 1080, you would want a different number there. We could say here we can see how it looks at 1920 by 1080. Unfortunately, with the 1920, like that's all the bigger my display is, so I can't do canvas scaling. So we won't be able to see as well how it's working, but we'll go through the motions anyway. So you want to disable the 721 then and just do the 1081. And of course you want to move this to 8 times 4.5, which is 36, as everyone knows. And there you have it. If you want to use a more exotic size, don't. Like either do the 4.5 scaling or the 3 scaling. If you really insist, like if you have, I don't know, you want 80 pixels cropped off the top and the bottom, you can figure out what the remaining space is. No, we're not doing 2.85 to 1. What is that? You can put your splits over here. If you're a lunatic, you can you move the thing to be on the right and put your splits over here. But that's weird. Don't do that. Or do. I don't care. I don't have a vested interest in the left-right thing. You don't need this audio thing. Audio, Datapath doesn't capture audio. You should probably know that already if you bought one. No, it's not. Be quiet, Larry. It's not 4.3. Oops. There's your... No, it's not even 4.3. Where does that come from? Is that like the measurement of the TV? Is that where people get the 4.3 thing? Because that's 1.333. 256 over 224? Come out to that. Nope. I don't know where the 4.3 comes from. It's not real. Yeah, maybe 256 times 8/7 over 240. Still not right. So yeah, I think if we multiply the pixels, no, there's no way to get anything like 240 or 43. Maybe that's where the 341 comes in. I don't know. But yeah, if we go to full screen stripes, it's going to look a little wonky because it's not, because it's preview scaling is wrong. If we do canvas, you can see that these are pretty crisp lines. These at the 1080, you're going to get some blurring in both directions because of reasons. So actually, if you kind of lean back, you can see the Pinot Noir horizontally because of the 8.7 thing. Yeah, that's spooky. That 256, 224 is 8/7, but that's not where the pixel aspect ratio comes in. I guess that makes it the screen square on 8.7. No, it further exacerbates the 8.7 ratio. I don't know. Anyway, if you have any questions, now's the time because I am just out of shit to talk about on this. I guess I can go through how you would set it up. Settings. If you wanted to do square pixels for ultimate crispness at the expense of circles not looking right. 1280 by 720. We're going to go back to 1280 by 720 so that we can do canvas scaling. Okay, so to do here, we'll rename this one so if we want to do square pixels, it's way easier. So do 720p. All we do is point, and we multiply both numbers by our scaling factor. 768, not by 432. What was? Come on, what was that? 224 by 3. 672. I already knew that number. I shouldn't have had to do it again. And there we have, if we do magnifier, we can see like just real nice crisp squares all over. To some extent, Larry, but it would just help with your scaling. The GV-USB, the signal it produces is just not as good. So you're going to get some smearing and such. And I'm not sure what resolution the GV-USB like comes in at. I think it comes in at 640 by 480. So you're already doubling the pixels and it's like outside of your control. It also doesn't, it deinterlaces a what it thinks is an interlaced signal. If you're a man of culture, you want better looking circles. You don't want square pixels. Because like, look at this shit. Look how wide this split area is. What are you going to put over here? It's like 2/3 of your fucking screen. It's nuts. It's nuts, Green Mario. Your face? That's too much face. Let's look. Look how much face it is. Oh my god. It's too much. It's just too much. Look, even my whole camera doesn't fill that space. FF Speedrun Guy disagrees. Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, don't put a camera like this. Don't do this. This is garbage. Yeah, so that's how you do square pixels. The same for 1080. You just, the difference is that you do point for your scale filtering and just multiply by your scale factor. The other thing you might want to do, say you want, I don't know, you really like those top 8 and bottom top and bottom 8. You can reduce those here by 8. Shit. We're going to go back to the way it was intended to be viewed. So here we'll go in to overscan again and show that even the first pixel shows up there. And then we have, 1 pixel on each side is working out. So this is for the full 240 lines. So then when you go into your other filters, instead of 1568 here, you want 240 times 7, which is 1680. And then in your stream size, this would be 720. And now you see it takes up the whole vertical space of the thing of your stream. And if we go to full screen stripes, we see that they are very crisp stripes. It looks like actually we have a little bit of noise on the top. You see this top row is a little bit noisy, so we're going to fix that. Anime GIFs. We're going to fix that by going into properties and going into configure video again. We're back to this screen. So what we want to do is change the vertical position. You can change it to whatever. Actually, it looks like maybe that noise is just on the signal. I don't know. But if we change the vertical position and then we go into our filters and adjust our crop and pad, we want, that noise is still there. So that's probably just the top pixel is garbage. That's why you that's why you cut off the top 8 and bottom 8 pixels, because they're garbage anyway. But if you didn't want to do that, here, let's actually, we need to go back into properties, configure video, do like 10. Filters, crop and pad. So we want to make sure there's no black. And the reason you do the crop pad first is because now we have all the resizing things that make it hard to see. Drop my controller. Yeah. So I would say, just add 8 to each of these. Subtract whatever is 16 times 7 from this. So we have 224 times 7, 1568 instead. And then in this one, do 620, 672. And there, now you have the nice crispy pickles. That's That's all there is to it. But yeah, I hope that was helpful, Green Mario. And whoever in the future is watching this, nope, SNES is the same. Yeah, here we can hold on. I will do that. So for some reason, the Datapath like stopped updating when I turned the NES off. It's a little weird. I've never seen it do that before. So there we go. We got back the no signal thing. The no signal is a little wonky. But here you can see my Super Nintendo doesn't have an SD card in. Yeah, what is going on with that? Deactivate when not showing. We'll check this deactivate when not showing thing, and then we should be able to just cycle it this way. So one thing you'll notice with this setup, the Super Nintendo has a somewhat rarely used mode that's a completely different resolution. So like games that use that mode will look like trash. As you can see, like the SD to SNES menu looks like complete horse shit here. I don't know what games use this other mode, but I don't play them, so I haven't had any chance to investigate it further. There's a 240p test thing for SNES as well, and if you load that, this actually looks pretty bad. Why does it look bad? Yeah, so like the 480i, I don't know. This is the checkerboard looks okay, but like everything is kind of blurry. So let's go in to configure video. Let's move this out of the way so we can see the actual interesting thing, which is here. We might need to adjust the phase. Vertical position's not going to matter. Yeah, I don't know what this black level thing is about. It just goes crazy on mine. Yeah, it didn't used to look this shitty. My SNES is also kind of shitty, so it just could be that too. But if we look at the checkerboard, it looks pretty good. I guess, yeah, the point I'm trying to make, though, is that for the most part, the settings are the same, but my SNES kind of sucks. So I'm guessing that's why it's looking like garbage right now. I don't know, unless CF knows some like sciencey answer why this should be different. I don't think so though. This I always found curious. The odd number horizontal positions don't do anything, only the even numbers. As far as I know, SNES video is more or less the same as SNES, or as NES. Yeah, there's all these other options like I don't know, you can do other stuff. Maybe this is why. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, like the SNES, it looks fine now. Oh, OBS has crashed. Oh, that's fun. All of my calculators. Yeah, that was just a surprise in case OBS crashed. Just in case. I wonder if that's because I did configure video and then close the properties. And then close this. Nope. Well, I don't know. I don't know why it crashed, but yeah, the main thing is that SNES should look as good. Ooh. That looks like shit on my TV too. I'm not sure what that one is. Grid scroll test. You know, you should more or less have the same. Same things going on. This text is just really awful. Ooh, and like this is nasty. I think the red is just fucked up. Ugh. But if I do like, no, if I do, cool. No, it's just not going to work at all. There we go. Yeah, even this looks pretty bad now. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. So you can see like specifically like the reds. So this is all fucked up. There's just like a lot of red bleed. There we go. So the secret to that was setting the video format to XRGB and flipping it vertically. I don't know what any of these things mean. There's still a little bit of red bleed if we look like here you can see the yellow is like bleeding over 1 pixel, and actually there's just like a lot of ghosting by 1 pixel. The black, but I mean the black is probably because there's red in there too. I don't know. I don't really know why. I think my SNES just sucks. It also just doesn't play some games, but you can see like there's kind of a ghosting of 1 pixel in all kinds of places. I don't know if it's a 1 chip. I never bothered to open it up. but I suspect it's not based on the the quality of this. But let's see if that makes some improvements to the 240p. Yeah, this looks like a million times better now. So, and I think it should still look fine for NES with those settings. Yeah, the test patterns look good because there wasn't red in them. Oh, you guys can't see it. So yeah, there, that still looks good. But you can use the same settings for both. So let's go over them one more time. In your capture, you can do deactivate when not showing or not. I don't know. I never had this problem where it what? Where it would, like, if I turned off normally if I turn off my console, it just says no signal, and then it comes back. So I don't know, that's a little weird that it's doing that. Anyway, so the things you want to have here is the right device, set the resolution to FPS or to custom, the resolution to 320 by 250, the FPS to 60, the video format to XRGB, default partial auto detect. I don't know. Flip vertically if you need to, like I needed to for XRGB. And then in configure video, you want to set this horizontal position to like whatever, really. It does like something that makes the top in the top position. Set the horizontal size to 341. For me, the phase is 0. You want to adjust it so that if you're getting distortion like this, specifically if we do the full screen grid, you can see it a little better, so that your distortion is minimized. For me, it's 0. Vertical position, again, just like so the top doesn't have black. Black level, mine goes wonky. I don't know. Brightness and contrast, you can set however you like. And then the last piece is in your filters. Crop it so that you have the overscan. So you can see the 9th pixel appear on the top and bottom. And the first pixel appear on the left and right. Plug these numbers in. Use point for the first scaling aspect ratio. And plug these numbers in. Use Lanxos for the second. If you do point, you get the weird text that doesn't quite look right. Like, some letters look thicker. You could do bilinear. It's just like kind of shittier. Bicubic is a little better than bilinear, but Lanxos seems to be the best. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Now your Datapath is set up. Cool. We'll look at some more Nick Cage. Yeah, absolutely, Green Mario.